20th perfect game in regular season history.
Welcome back to the lineup here on Radio DePaul, Chicago's College Connection. Eli Hershkovich alongside Tom Bostwick here in the studios. Dave Sims giving you the play-by-play for Philip Umber, and I hope you White Sox fans don't really remember him too much, of course, giving you some bad memories, but of course that good memory, the perfecto against the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, what a great call that was, and obviously you mentioned it, not the best pitcher for the White Sox, but pretty great moment there for the White Sox franchise, and obviously for Philip Umber.
A terrific moment, and the man who had the chance to have that call, and again the call you heard, Dave Sims calling the perfecto for Philip Umber. Again, Dave Sims of the Mariners play-by-play, as well as Show with Coach K and Westwood One play-by-play for the NFL, and as well as college hoops for the NCAA tournament doing play-by-play. He does a lot of stuff. Dave, are you with us?
Yes, indeed. What's going on, fellas?
We're doing a lot here, and we know you do a lot as well. But talking about that Philip Umber perfect game, obviously I'm a big-time White Sox fan, and Tom's a Phillies fan, so not much affiliate with that. But again, talking about the Mariners and looking at the transition from that year to this year, I'm sure it was tough to call a perfecto against the Mariners, but looking at what the Mariners have done this offseason, getting a Robinson Cano and a Fernando Rodney and a Corey Hart, also even the youngster, or I should say the oldster, Randy Wolf. What do you think about the Mariners' chances to contend against the A's and the Rangers this season?
Well, we're going to find out. There's question marks galore. Corey Hart coming off of 2 microfracture surgeries. You got Randy Wolf, who I'm a Philly guy, and I remember when Randy was with the Phillies, I was doing the Phillies Weekly back in '99 and 2000. Excuse me. And Cano's got to have somebody hit behind him to protect him so he doesn't get walked 4 times a night. So we're going to find out. It's a very good division. A's are 2-time defending champions. I look for the Rangers to regroup, and it'll be interesting to see if they re-sign Nelson Cruz, since nobody else seems to be jumping on him. And I figure the Angels, if Albert's healthy and Trout and a couple of retooling things that they did, they're going to be a better team. So it's going to be a very competitive division, American League West.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned Randy Wolf's time in Philadelphia. I'm sure you remember the Wolf Pack at Old Vet Stadium.
How could you forget the Wolf Pack?
But you talked about obviously the question marks on this Mariners team, but one player who's not a question mark is the ace of the staff, King Felix Hernandez. Obviously, he won the Cy Young in 2010, and he's come close several times since. Do you think he needs to have a Cy Young year for this Mariners team? Obviously, because the rest of the staff is a little lacking behind him. Is he going to have to pick up the rest of the slack?
Well, I mean, you know the answer to that question. Felix has got to be Felix. I mean, come on, you don't need a microscope to figure that out. You need him to make his 35 starts. You need him to win anywhere from 18 to 23 ball games, and be the Iron Horse there. And especially now with Iwakuma out, missing the first 4 to 6 weeks, he can't really throw. And Iwakuma was probably better than Felix. I don't think there's any question he was better than Felix last year. Finished 3rd in the Cy Young balloting, and you could make a very strong case made for him to win the Cy last year. So, ideally, when those guys are at full strength, when you have the King and Kuma 1-2, that's a pretty formidable 1-2 punch, one of the better ones in baseball. Then, I'm still hoping for maybe Irvin Santana. Earlier today, I was reading a Capuano. Looks like he may be going to Boston. And, ideally you'd like to have a veteran guy like that in your 3-hole and then go with Walker and Paxton 4 or 5 or whoever else may emerge in spring training. So, we're going to see. I think for my money, the team's got to hit better. I mean, not scoring runs last in just about every major offensive category except for home runs. Runners in scoring position, batting average is terrible. Didn't score enough runs. The bullpen was not very good. So, it's like any team, man. You're going into a new season with a ton of questions.
No doubt about it. And again, I mentioned earlier on, you host Sirius XM's Basketball and Beyond with Coach K. And obviously, I'm sure you have a relationship with Coach K as well, talking Duke basketball with him. So, might I ask you, what has been the reason for the turnaround? Is it because of Jabari's improvement, or is it this improvement with the basketball team? Obviously, we saw Maryland almost upset them, almost upset Duke last Saturday. So Duke almost getting knocked out of that 5 spot in the AP Top 25. But what is the reason why Duke has jumped all the way from the lower parts of the AP Top 25 to now number 5?
Well, they were in the top, I think they started the season top 10, pretty much dropped out. I think they're at 18, and they went to 5. I think if you read the SI cover story, I read it online yesterday. It's it's development. I mean, that's what I know. I have a relationship with Mike going back to the late '70s. I mean, the guy can coach. He knows what he's doing. He's been there. He's done that. He's had this type of talent before. And Jabari Parker's a smart kid and wants to learn. And who wouldn't want to learn from a guy who's won a couple gold medals, coaching LeBron and that crew. So, it's just a matter of don't be an idiot. And just the maturation. They still don't have good inside presence in terms of the 5-hole and being able to defend the paint very well. I think that's one of their deficiencies, and hopefully it doesn't hurt them tonight against Carolina. But it's a good ball club. Rodney Hood has been outstanding, and he's picked it up the last couple of weeks. The guard play's been better. Their defense has been outstanding, and and Parker. If you read that article and from watching them of late, dude, you are a singular type of talent. You need to take over. You need to be the alpha male, and I don't care if you're a freshman. I don't care if you're 18, 19 years old. With that skill set, you need to take over, and let's go do it.
Oh, absolutely. And looking at college basketball as a whole, obviously Duke's going to be up there when March starts, and some of these other teams. I mean, obviously Syracuse fell last night to Boston College, and you got Wichita State, who had the success last year. But do you see a young team, one of the younger teams like Kentucky or Kansas, getting hot right now? Are they going to be the biggest threat come March, or is it going to be unpredictable as always?
I've done this long enough to know that you start predicting at any time, and particularly now you do it at your own peril. So, people ask me about, who do you like, and I don't speculate anymore. I did talk radio for the longest time, and as I get older and I do this stuff, it's just, I enjoy the people. I enjoy the games. The picking is crazy because, you know what? I don't even remember what I had for lunch yesterday, so I had home. I can remember tomorrow what I picked today. So I can tell you that you can bet on some team like Wichita State. I had them last year in Salt Lake City, and I went in the first 10 minutes, and Kevin Greavy and I looked at each other and went, oh, my God, these cats are really good, and they're solid. They're beyond solid again this year, and there could be another team that could fit that same profile coming into this year, and we don't know who it is. Somebody could emerge from a conference tournament. So in terms of I don't know what to tell you, if it's going to be all chalk when the final 64 get put up, or if there's going to be some some Cinderella team, but that's the beauty of the tournament. I just think there's a lot of good teams out there, and from talking to Coach K and Boeheim and a lot of the other coaches we've had on, just about all of them say there's about 20 teams that can win it this year, maybe 25, 30.
That's great advice, and Tom and I are going to take that. We saw Michigan make a run to the championship against Louisville. Who knows who's going to be that? Yeah, who knows who's going to be able to make it this year? But as we take that advice from you, Tom and I have a request for you. Tom's sporting the Seattle Seahawks shirt in studio. So
attaboy.
as I say that, Dave, can you give Tom and I a Robinson Cano home run call?
I haven't even begun to think about that. I don't even want to. I like you guys, but I'm not going to debut it here. I can tell you that right now.
All right, that's okay, Ed. But Dave, thank you so much for coming on here on the lineup, and we hope to have you back on soon. And good luck.
Yeah, anytime, fellas.
Good luck doing play-by-play for the Mariners this season.
Thanks, man. All right, take care, fellas. Be good.
Have a good season. And again, that's Dave Sims of the Mariners and so many other things that we talked about doing XM radio work with Coach K. What a guest he was. And he has a relationship with Coach Krzyzewski, Boeheim. Just a terrific guest.
Yeah, I just loved how he wouldn't take the bait because he knows March Madness is. They call it March Madness for a reason, obviously, and he's not going to get sucked into making any picks whatsoever.
And I tried, I tried to suck him in, saying you have the Seahawks shirt in, and he said, "I'm still not going to give you the Robbie Cano call." I mean, you heard the Umber perfect game call. He has a terrific play-by-play voice, and I really wanted to hear what he has in store and shop. What he has in works for his Robbie Cano, because you see what the Yankees play-by-play guy does. Robbie Cano, don't you know?
Yeah.
And so many other great calls by the Yankees guys. But again, just a terrific guest.
No, yeah, and I'm sure he'll be saying plenty of Robbie Cano home run calls this season. So doesn't want to waste it too soon.
Tom, obviously we're going to preview the MLB season, and maybe I'll have another Mets team like I did this last year. But again, looking at the Mariners, do you think this team, before we start diving into it in the next coming weeks, do you think the Mariners can really make some noise in the AOS like he was talking about?
Not unless they make a couple more moves.
Like a Nelson Cruz?
Yeah, a Nelson Cruz or an Irvin Santana. It's just they got a great start. And and they made obviously some great moves, but to me they're still one or two pieces away from really, because that West is so good. The A's are locked in, as he mentioned, back-to-back defending AL West champs. The Rangers are going to be back this year. If the A's are healthy this year, they're always a threat. So the Mariners are in the right direction, but not quite there.
Maybe what you don't know about Robbie Cano is he's going to bring an AL West title to Seattle. You never know. But we're going to come back here and dive into, again, switch over from the MLB talk. And, again, we talked some college basketball as well with Dave Sims. We're going to dive into some Bears talk and some Bears breaking news. A lot of Bears breaking news here today. Henry Melton has a chance to come back to the Bears. Julius Peppers has a chance to leave. And Shea McClellan is not a defensive tackle or defensive end anymore for your Chicago Bears.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the Bears the past couple weeks about what they're going to do, and it seems like things are starting to come together now as the combines this weekend, and Bears are looking forward to what to do in the draft and whether to re-sign these players. And you mentioned the Shea McClellan change.
We're going to talk about that next here on the lineup on Radio DePaul, Chicago's College Connection.